Paul, I think the worries of all the central bank now is this, and you can see that last week, I think the Construction Bank of China started testing, the beta testing, and then it was overwhelmed, and then they have to shut down. Now, the worry of the central bankers are this now. Every time a central bank print a dollar, it goes into the fractional banking system and create maybe $9. So the $10 now is created on a fractional reserve system. And when the Fed continue to print to about 8 trillion, what happens is that they give $10 to the central bank, and the central bank is saying, I'm not going to create $90 for you. In fact, the $10 that you have given to me, I want to give it back to you. And the central bank said, no, 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 I'm not going to take back the $10 I've given to you. I'm going to charge you interest for this. So you have the negative interest rate phenomena because the fractional reserve system has failed. The $10 supposed to create $90, but the bankers are not going to do that. And the Fed say that you are not going to do that. How I'm going to give all this, do a helicopter dropping of this money to the corporate that needs the money? Then Fed say that I will do it myself. I print the $10, I buy the junk bonds, I buy everything myself without you bank doing anything. So the banks are sitting at the sideline, not doing anything. The fractional reserve system has failed, right? You print the $10, the $90 is never created. In fact, it's rolling back the $10 to, they only wanted $9 or $8 or $7. And all those $7, $8 are all going into buying real estate, punting the stocks, and become totally a break away from the fundamentals of the economy. So now the danger is this, that when you have fractional reserves, full reserve system where I have an account with the central bank, I do not want to take the corporate risk at the bank. I will move all my deposit from the bank to my wallet with the central bank because I'm not going to take on two risks, the central bank risk as well as the corporate risk. I will only want to take the central bank risk because I do not know what is going to happen to the bank. Now, when you move $1 from the fractional banking system, you are withdrawing $9 lending, right? So that is the danger now that the central banker are thinking, how do I deal with this contraction of 8 trillion back to 1 trillion when everybody is worried that the bank earnings are going to go down, the tech companies are going to take over, and then they don't want to take the banking corporate risk, and they move the $1 from the bank to the wallet to the central bank, and then you have a collapse of the credit system. So this is what the central bankers are very worried about, and they need to balance. It's just like how they balance, how do we balance this collapse, run on the bank, run not only one bank, run on the whole banking industry, right? So this is one problem that the central banker needs to resolve, and this is all the discussion with the central bankers that's happening now. So I pass it back to you. I hope I give it a very clear idea of where the danger is now with banks has reached its maximum potential, and they have all the 8 trillion worth of junk assets, right? With the stock market, with the bonds and the real estate, and where the credit system is going to bubble, it's going to burst like in any crisis, then the banks are going to go down. And the central bank knows that they need to have an alternative plan, right? But
well, I think that the central banks are doing the kind of thing that like a drunken idiot does at 1 o'clock in the morning. Plan A doesn't work. Let's try plan A. And so right, you can't, your keys don't fit into the lock. You just keep on jiggling your keys in the lock until you break the lock. I think, David, my answer to this is that the central banks are not going to stop. If they need to go beyond junk to buying equities, they will. They need to create inflation. And they are going to keep on all the money that we are stuffing into the bank that we don't want to use to invest or to spend. They're going to shove that money via the liabilities of the central bank into more junk, more corporate debt, more, and they're going to start buying equities. This is what Japan has done over the last 20 years. Japan has bought everything. Japan bought property, Japan bought bonds, Japan bought government bonds, Japan is now buying equities. The Bank of Japan owns 5% of the stock market. Think of what would happen if the Federal Reserve owned 5% of the stock market. That, I believe, is going to happen.